I think vibrance is better, but it's not enough. I think saturation works better, but it sometimes ruins the image. I think vibrance is better. No, saturation is better. God! Don't worry, I got answer for all of those questions. So just let's get started. What's up guys, Dhruv here back with another video, and in this video I'm going to use a couple of images to explain you what is the actual difference between vibrance and saturation. Now these images are from deviantart.com, and if you want to use the same images, the download link is in description, so feel free to use it. And let's get started. First of all, vibrance and saturation, what they actually do. So basically they will just, you know what, let's create a vibrance layer here, vibrance, and let's make it 100%. Now let's turn it on and off. As you can see, it doesn't add anything new, but it will boost things that are already into the pictures. I'm talking about the colors. So as you can see, before the vibrance there is blue color, but after the vibrance there is more saturated and intense blue. So basically it will pick up the colors and boost it. Now let's look at the saturation. So let's create a new layer. Sorry, not that one, vibrance and saturation. Now if you look at it, basically if you go by the definition, it also does the same thing, like it takes the color and it will boost them. But vibrance most of the time looks more natural. As you can see, the vibrance, and this is the saturation one. So why? So let's look at the vibrance one. It will boost only colors that actually need some boosting. So if you look at this grass, it is not that much saturated because it knows that it doesn't need it. If you look at her dress, it still is in like natural condition. But when you increase the saturation, it doesn't care what needs and what doesn't. It will basically just boost up everything, things that need, things that don't. So let's, you know what, group these things. I'm just gonna make a copy of it, put it here. So this is for the vibrance one. Let's group this thing. I'm gonna press Ctrl J and let's name it vibrance. And let's group this thing and I'm gonna name it saturation. So let's turn it off. As you can see, this is the saturation. So that's actually the only difference between these two. And the biggest example, like the difference you can see, is in the skin. So as you can see, with the vibrance the skin is like totally damaged, but if you look at with the saturation and with the vibrance, it is in natural condition. You don't need to do anything. So this way I would say, like, the most of the time vibrance will work better against the saturation. And here comes another thing. This vibrance panel, where is it? Here. And so these two are vibrance and saturation, they work fine, like, but this one, you know what, let's turn this two off. Don't worry about the groups and stuff, let's turn this on. And I'm gonna create another one, and this time I'm gonna use this one, hue and saturation. It also has a saturation, but this saturation, only one word for it, ridiculous. As you can see, it just kills everything in the site. So it is better used in really limited amount. And sometimes, as you can see, like at this point it's natural, but if it goes this far, like past this, it starts looking fake. So I honestly would not recommend using this slider at all. It doesn't make any sense unless you are just lazy to create something new and you are already in this panel, but whatever. So this is something that I like to avoid. Mostly it's for hue and lightness that works better, and you can like go step by step. Like now if I go into the blues and then if I increase the saturation, it will only increase the blues, but it still doesn't work that great. Sometimes it works like superhero, but sometimes most of the time it doesn't. So I will not recommend using this one. So since we're over that, you might think that the most of the time just use vibrance and there's no need for saturation. You are kind of right, but sometimes just like this image appears. So as you can see, let's create this one and go to vibrance, and I'm gonna increase the vibrance. Looks okayish, but it's like literally killing the dress. Like if I turn it on up, it's making it dull and really bluish. So that just doesn't work out. So how do you deal with that? This time let's try with saturation. So this time I'm gonna use saturation, and let's turn off the vibrance so we can only see the saturation. So as you can see, let's duplicate this thing, put it in between. I'm just making copy of the image so you can see two things differently. So this is the vibrance one, and this time this is the saturation one. See, now let's turn this off. So as you can see, this is the saturation. I know the yellows and greens look a bit unrealistic, but there's a solution for that. Let's say you used saturation this time, works better than the vibrance. As you can see, it just makes things dull a bit. So this time saturation is fine, but this portion doesn't look good. So decrease the opacity by some point. So as you can see, now the colors are still good, and this time they are realistic on the 70%. So play with opacity. And another awesome thing, let's move to another image. I'm gonna explain it here. As you can see here, basically we have our image in Photoshop, we unlock this thing, and then we go here. But many beginners, they go to image adjustment and then they use these things from here. Now this is fine and it will do the job, no doubt, like the vibrance and stuff like that, that's fine. But once I apply this thing here, like I applied vibrance, it looks fine, but now I cannot manipulate it anymore, like this is done. But instead, if I use it from here, let's say go here, I'm gonna go create a vibrance, and in the vibrance I'm gonna increase the saturation. Looks ridiculous, I know. So you know what, I'm gonna go like keep it. So as you can see, yeah, it doesn't look that great, but there is a thing. I'm not talking about saving the image, but you can manipulate this thing. So if I put it on color mode, so as you can see, now it only and only it's boosting the colors. It doesn't affect the contrast at all. But if I put it on normal, as you can see, it also like increases the contrast. And if I put it on luminosity, so this time, as you can see, it is only and only affecting the contrast, and the colors are just the way they were. So on the normal, color or luminosity, it's your choice. So let's like delete this thing from here, create another vibrance layer, increase it to the 100%. So let's turn it on and off. As you can see, the dress is noticeably like vibrant because that needed some boosting, but the grass, it's just regular. It hasn't been affected that much. And same way, if you are going for like Sin City look or something like that, you can also like decrease it and then play around, and there's a lot of things you can do if you do the adjustment layer thing. So let's make it 100%, and then you decide, you know what, I like the grass but I don't want color on her dress. So how do you deal with that? You select your mask, this thing here, you select your brush tool, and in the brush tool, make sure your hardness is like 0 and opacity here is 100%. Now if you paint with black color, it will remove that vibrance effect from here. And if you think I want that back, just paint with white color and it will bring the effect back. See, it is that simple as that. So now you understand the difference between vibrance and saturation. Vibrance, it's really practical and reasonable. Saturation, it's more like aggressive. So which one is better? It's like the question is wrong. It's not about which one is better. It's about which one to use when. Like you need to learn in which condition which tool is better, because every image has a different story and different location and colors. So try both and figure out which one works better, and after a couple of images you will automatically realize, like, you know what, this one needs vibrance or this one needs saturation. So I really hope your confusion is like over now and you understand things better. If you did, hit that like button, it helps my videos a lot. You can also like ask me questions in the comment if you have any confusion left. I will do my best, but now there are a lot of comments to deal with. But that's it, and you can click on any of these boxes, so it will open up new tutorials if you are into more tutorials. Also you can click on that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel, so every time I upload a new video it will appear in your YouTube feed. Plus it will take you to my channel where I have more than 70 free Photoshop tutorials, so check them out. And till then, goodbye, take care and have some fun with Photoshop.